So you want to be an it girl? Hi guys, welcome back to Confessions of a Wannabe It Girl. Today I am joined by Ashley Parker from Splash of Ash. Welcome, Ashley. We're so excited to have you.
Yes, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh my gosh, we're so excited. So I hate this question because I always think there's like that scary adult in the room who's going to ask me about my career and my life choices and judge me and whatnot. But I hate it, but I'm going to ask you. So when you what do you say you do?
That is something that I'm actually working on. So I love that you asked me this. So as I am now a business owner, right, an entrepreneur doing my thing, it has been such a mindset shift to get myself to say, I'm a podcaster, I'm a mentor, and I'm a professional speaker. Like even the fact that I say it right now is kind of a big deal for me because it's like, you know, those thoughts creep in, the limiting beliefs, all of that come in and say, are you really doing that? So that's what I am. I'm a professional speaker, I'm a mentor, and I'm a podcaster.
I love it. So, and like, where did you get your background in all this stuff?
Yes, I have my master's in clinical mental health counseling. I graduated in 2020 during the midst of the chaos that is still kind of going on. Was a whole process for me. Learned a lot about myself. Loved school. I'm good at school, but I had to make a little bit of a pivot and a shift as I was graduating.
We love a pivot. We love a shift. Like, I didn't know about your little shift. And
I knew it was coming next.
Right. Tell us about it though, because like, I also went through something really similar my senior year of college. I went through like it wasn't huge, but it was a big one. I was going to be, or I wanted to be, I don't know if I was going to be a professional dancer. And maybe around my junior year, I started to, question it. And around my senior year, I was like, I really want to pivot. So like the self-realization and like telling people like, hey, I know I'm not doing this, but like I'm in school for this. Like, give us the whole experience, how you talked yourself through the whole thing.
Yeah. So my master's program was 2.5 years. And for the last year of the program, you're doing the dang thing. I was counseling real people with real challenges, real struggles. I was in it. And as I was doing that, I really started to feel like this isn't what I was supposed to be doing. And obviously that was terrifying. Like I'm sure you experienced as well. Yeah. Any shift, any change, no matter how big or small, it's hard to adjust to. So I was kind of noticing I was miserable, to be honest. I would cry on my way down to my internship. And not only was that obviously hard for me, but it made it hard, I think, for me to show up for my clients in the way that they needed me to show up for them, right? I'm there for an hour for them to help them get through their challenges and help them work through major things that are going on in their world. And I can't even sit and be present and help them in the best way that I thought was possible. So the end of school was coming up. I was getting ready to graduate and I kind of had two choices, right? Like I could go on and get my license in mental health counseling. And that takes another 2 years after school. So it was going to be like a whole long process again. I thought to myself, I could do that and honestly be miserable, keep the tears flowing, have it be really hard, or I could figure out what the hell I can do next. And that's obviously what I chose. It was scary, but during the midst that was like the world shut down, I had to get really clear on what I wanted next. And it kind of was like a whole pep talk with myself. Like, what's going to make me happy? How can I make this shift? How can I use my education in a different way to still impact people and help people?
Right. Absolutely. And like, what were some of the like maybe tactics and tools you used yourself to like talk to people about this or share that you really wanted to have this pivot?
So I have a very entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
Say it for me. Say it for me. Okay.
Entrepreneurial?
Yeah. I think that's what I'm going for.
Yeah. I don't know.
So I have a mindset that is, I would love to work for myself. Right. And I would love to do something kind of on my own. And even in my clinicals, I was thinking I wanted to open my own practice. I want my own clients. I want to do things my own way. So this was kind of my way to do that. But honestly, my family and my friends, mostly my family, because I was quarantined with my family over in Naples, Florida. So my family was a huge support system, and my boyfriend too. Just having them to use as a soundboard, like, this is where I'm at, right? They could see that I wasn't happy. It was very clear because I'm doing these counseling sessions on Zoom, right? Because we're not allowed to go anywhere. And they knew that I was going to be stuck in the room for 5-6 hours with back-to-back clients. And they were like, all right, Ash, you can do this, right? The encouragement there, but they saw that I wasn't happy. And so they saw that there had to be some sort of shift in what I was going to do next. So I think finding a support system and a group of people that you can spend time with that will encourage you, cheer you on, ask you hard questions, and people that you can trust so that you can kind of have the courage and the bravery to make that next move is huge. It was huge for me in my journey.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think it's like the people around you that you actually know and trust do have a clue about what's working for you, what's not,
Absolutely.
You can't, I don't know. We can't get too many like people from the peanut gallery throwing their, impressions on your career. I'm super influenced by the people that are around me, but like at the same time, like, they probably know. Like, I literally just had a teacher. I was burnt out in this class I was in. And, I would like had this breakdown and she was like, are you really burnt out? And I was like, I think so. And she was like, yeah, no, like, I know, because we very trust each other.
Yes.
So it's very important to have a support system.
Absolutely. I think it's also really important to just get curious with yourself too. I'm a huge believer in writing things down, having a notebook of just ideas and what makes you happy, what jacks you up, what sucks the energy out of you. Like having a running list of things that just fuel you is really important. So you can always kind of fall back on that, even if it's something that's just a hobby.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that's partly why I started this podcast. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, I was driving myself crazy with acting and whatever. And I was like, I need something I have control of for myself. Yes. And so this has become like a great outlet for me, and like, I know so many other people who've even like, and you don't have to make your hobby like the career. No, but like you pick something up that just you can do for you on your time. Yeah. So you are super focused on self-care and so self-worth. And I heard you talk about how you really want people to be their best selves. And we are all about holding yourself accountable to kind of your best self this month. So if you need to work on your worth, how does one start growing their self-worth?
Well, I think what you just said, like getting clear on like, how do you feel about yourself? Like knowing that you need to work on your self-worth is a huge, huge step. Cause I think there's a lot of people that might feel stuck and they kind of feel like they're not really sure what's going on. And so I think having that sense of awareness is really, really important, but it starts with how you treat yourself. 100%. It starts with how you treat yourself, how you talk to yourself, how you fuel your body, how you take care of yourself. How do you love yourself, really? And these are hard things, I think. These are really hard things to do. I'm a huge believer in affirmations. Like, I mean, there's things all around me that are backwards right now, but the way that we talk to ourselves is so important. I literally have a whiteboard in my kitchen that I have mantras on. So even just subconsciously, as I'm like making my eggs in the morning and I see this mantra on my board that says like, I am fearless, I am a badass, whatever it is, start with the I am statement. Huge to just get in the back of your head, because your default setting will begin to change a little bit. And instead of that negative self-talk and falling back on just the crappy self-worth and all the limiting beliefs that we have on ourselves, it's actually going to shift. You're going to say, you know what? I am kind of a badass, right? I am pretty awesome. And I am good at things. I'm a good employee. I'm a good sister. I'm a good, whatever it is. So I think that's huge. Eliminating the self-criticism and adding in self-compassion, huge.
Totally. I'm totally going to sidebar you for 2 seconds, but it's the same thing. First off, I saw on TikTok a while ago, it's like, a video of this girl and she's saying affirmations in the mirror. It's like day 1. And then it cut to her on day 30. And it's like, you could see it.
Yeah.
Like you really could. And like, I feel like there's a lot of whatever about mantra.
Woo, this, that. Yeah,
right.
I know.
And I was like, but wait, like I do see it. And then another sidebar to that sidebar is that I saw on your TikTok that you even make mantra reels.
Yes, I have Post-it notes, and it sounds so cliche. I feel like people always say that they do this or they want to do this in my bathroom mirror. And my mom actually wrote them down for me, and they're all like just in my mirror. So every day when I'm getting ready, I see, you're a rock star. I am beautiful, things like that. And I think that the language we use with ourselves is so important, and it's so easy. Like if we took a whole day and put it up on a screen for everybody to just see what we actually say about ourselves.
Oh, fuck, I don't want anyone seeing that.
Right?
Yeah.
People would be like, oh my gosh, like this is how you talk to yourself. This is what you think about yourself.
Right.
So choosing and being really intentional with the language that we use, it will become way more automatic if we choose to use those positive and powerful and encouraging words and let go of all the other bullshit.
Completely agree.
Which is really hard.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
This is something I truly struggle with too. It's like, I feel like I know what my self-worth is, but crossing that line over a little bit into 100% always believing it all the time is really difficult. Like, how do you, really truly like subconsciously even let go of those things that you've, maybe negatively automatically thought in the past?
Yeah. Act as if. It's kind of like a fake it till you make it kind of thing.
One of the themes of this podcast is literally fake it till you make it.
Yeah, well, 100%. And I know that it works, acting as if, right? So I like to tell people to think of somebody that they look up to, somebody that they admire, somebody that they think is a total rock star. So maybe for me, let's say it's Mel Robbins, right? Somebody kind of in my field who's just crushing it and rocking it. And I love the things that she talks about. So thinking about her, how does she start her day? How does she walk into a room? How does she dress? How does she speak to herself, right? Thinking about how she does it. And then do I do the same things, right? So if I'm not doing that, how can I just act as if I'm already that person that I want to become? So I'm going to wake up in the morning and I'm going to spend 10 minutes reading a self-growth, self-help book. I'm going to listen to a podcast. This podcast, we're going to listen to your podcast for 10 minutes every day because it helps to set us up for a good day. So I think just acting as if you don't have all the lies and the crap that comes in on repeat every single day, and just continue to show up for the person that you want to be, it will become a little bit easier every day to just continue that journey. Hopefully that made sense for you.
Oh no, it totally makes sense. I talk about it so much. I talk about it in so many different ways. I talk about it even in regards to like how you want to network, how you want to be seen in the world, how you dress is, how will reflect that. And like, it is 100%. So much big. Sometimes I've definitely felt horribly uncomfortable doing it, but the more I've done it, the more I believe it. And, I don't think it's a perfect science. There's totally days like I regress on that, but it's important to like get up and try to live the life you want to live.
100%.
I remember even as a kid, I would kind of do it. Like, I'd kind of be like, oh, like I live so far away from my friends. Like, I don't know. It's like not that cool to live out here. And then I would pretend I was like, oh, like, no, I'm actually like, my parents are like a really big deal. And that's why we live so far away. And
I love it.
My parents are a huge deal to me, but like, to the grand scheme of the world, probably not. But like, suddenly I didn't feel so weird about the fact that I lived 30 minutes away from everybody else I went to high school with, I was invited to do kind of this like speaking engagement, and I'm expanding my business that way. And I had this person reach out to me on Instagram and said, hey, come speak to my company on limiting beliefs and mindset. And I said, you want me? Like, what? Okay, I'm going to do it. And we're just going to try it. We're going to see what happens. Right. And in that moment,
it was like, one, like, why would they want to listen to me? Right. Why do they want me to come in? I had all of these thoughts, right, creep in because we're human beings, right? That's how our mind is kind of programmed in a way. And I thought to myself, practice what I preach, right? I just have to show up. So I put some glam on, I put my hoops in, I put on a cute ass outfit, and I showed up as if I was already a professional speaker. I was like, you know what?
Right.
This is how we're going to do it. And 100% it carried through when I was speaking, and the energy is contagious even through a screen. Like we're just vibing, right? We totally feel each other, but energy is contagious that way. And how you show up, it matters, and it will reflect back to you.
Right. This is making me think of like so many times, like even when the whole pandemic shut down and everybody, you know, was like on Zoom calls and everyone was like, Marley, what are you doing all day? And I was like, oh, I'm just like pretending I'm an influencer. And they were like, yes. What do you mean? I was like, oh, I'm organizing everything. I've got an eye mask on, everything. And I was like, oh, this is what it feels like to be an influencer. Like you stay home all day and you make things look really aesthetically pleasing, but it made me feel a lot better through it. And if I had a nickel for every entertainment success story I have heard that has come out of fake it till you make it situation. Like I had a teacher in college and she's a founder of like probably the most successful contemporary dance company in LA. Wow. And the first time she got asked to choreograph, they were just like, hey, like, you know, you're really great. Like, do you choreograph? And she just goes, yes. She said, so still, so confident, whatever. She got into her car and like mentally broke down because she was like, I've never choreographed a thing in my life, but I'm going to fucking do it now.
Yes.
And it worked. And like, she made it. So like, there are so many like that.
So many. I love it. Act as if all day long.
Yes. Another one that you often say is change your everyday, change your life. Tell us what that means to you. How does one exactly do that?
To me, it means that the little things that we do every single day, they matter. Our habits, right? How we wake up in the morning. We've talked about it time and time again already on this episode, but how we talk to ourselves. So the little things that you do, they add up to the big things, right? So I'm a huge believer that if you want to change your life, it starts with the littlest things that you do every single day. And how do you do that? You practice gratitude, right? You wake up and you think of things that you're grateful for. As cliche and simple as that sounds, it will shift your mindset 100%. I actually had somebody on my podcast and they were talking about how they don't believe that when you wake up in the morning, you always have control over that first thought, right? Your alarm goes off and you immediately go, oh, I'm tired, right? Like I have a whole freaking day to go through. But she says, I have a few minutes to get it together, to get out of my bed and walk to my bathroom. And by the time I'm brushing my teeth, I have control over that thought. And I'm going to choose to think a positive thought that I'm going to like be grounded in for the rest of my day. So it's the little things that you do that make a huge, huge difference, and it will change your life.
I love that. I want to get micro with you because I feel like you have a good one. Can you tell us your like routine for your morning?
Yes, I definitely can do that. So
I knew it.
So when I wake up in the morning, I immediately go make my coffee. Like that, it just has to happen. I don't do anything in bed. I don't even look at my phone. My alarm usually goes off. I just leave it on my nightstand and I'm pretty excited to go get my coffee. And for me, that it starts my day with something to look forward to. As simple and small as that sounds, you follow me on Instagram. I love my coffee. I put it up every single day. And the reason I put it up every single day is because it programs people to think of the habits, right? The things that you do every day, they matter. So I wake up and I go get my coffee and I make my Nespresso machine and it makes me freaking happy. I wait for my coffee as it's being made. And that's when I do my gratitude practice. And I do my very best to think about things that make me happy. It might be my coffee. Maybe the only thing in the whole wide world that I might be grateful for in that moment, because I'm feeling blah and I'm feeling like I'm having a bad day, because that happens to me too, is my coffee. I'm like, I'm really grateful for my coffee. So I love that. Right? It's just small things.
Right. Because sometimes I feel like we get in that mode, and I'll just use the polar bears. And in that moment, we're like, I need to be grateful for the planet, save the polar bears, whatever. And that's really, really real. I love a polar bear. My mom is determined to see one on her bucket list. We love the polar bears, but like I wake up in the morning and like, you know, it might sound shallow or superficial, but like, that's not what I'm going to sit there and be like, I'm so grateful there's polar bears.
Right.
I have to get real.
Exactly. Yeah. And sometimes it's really hard to think of something that you're grateful for, like totally get it. But it's the act of being intentional with choosing to look for the good, right? In your day that's just about to come. So once I do that, I get my coffee, I practice gratitude, I make my bed, because if nothing else gets done in the whole entire day, at least I made my bed. And it actually is shown to program your mind to help you become a little bit more efficient and productive throughout your day, because you're starting your day with something that you're doing already. I know it's kind of crazy, right? Yeah, and there's actually a book on it, and it's called Make Your Bed. And it's about, it's really good. I forget who it's by. I'll message it over to you so that you can tell everyone, but it's called Make Your Bed. And I'm sure there's not many books that are called that. Once I do that, then the last thing I do is I go into my bathroom and I do my skincare routine, because this helps me to just feel good. Like, honestly, just feel good. And I do this obviously at night too. And at night, I think of it more like I'm washing off my day, because once you have a chaotic day and things are crazy, I wash it off. I'm like letting it all go so that I can relax. In the morning, I'm just setting myself up for a good day. And this is also where you can kind of practice positive self-talk, because sometimes when we look in the mirror right in the morning and we go, oh my God, there's bags under my eyes, I look puffy, I look crazy, I'm gross, right? We have all these thoughts. So this is a good time to also practice how you talk to yourself. Morning routines don't have to be 3 hours long. Like, it's like that takes me maybe 10 minutes. And some days it might take me a little bit longer, because I know that I need to spend a little bit more time with myself to get myself set up to have a good day. So it's also about being self-aware of what you need and actually listening to that.
Right. I love that. I also love how you said the thing about like washing off and setting up, because like they're acts, like we're going, you know, for instance, we'll use me. Like I just get up and I fucking go.
Yeah.
Sometimes I have a morning routine. Sometimes I don't. Yeah. But like, for instance, today working at home, whatever, went up and go. I did those things, but I didn't have any like emotional attachment to maybe like something that could help me improve myself. Instead, I was just like, okay, go, like tap, tap, we're good. Yeah. And I think it's also important at the end of the day to be like, hey, that day's over, rest. We don't need to bring the bullshit of yesterday into tomorrow. So I love how you attach that. That's really, I haven't heard that before.
Yeah. It really helps me. The other day, last week, I had just like, when I'm overwhelmed, I call it being jumbled. And so I just felt like my brain was jumbled. And I felt like when I came home from work, I was like, holy shit, like what happened today? Like, I just felt like, I know that everybody knows how I'm feeling when I say this. So I said, like, I was grumpy. I was just grumpy, straight up grumpy. And I literally jumped in the shower. I didn't even need to take a shower, but I jumped in the shower with the intention behind just washing off the crap. Like my home is my safe space. It's my sacred space. And I don't want to bring the outside things, the outside work, the outside bullshit into my happy place. This is my happy place. So I showered it off, and it really helps to just shift my mindset a little bit.
Totally. I love that. I mean, I could say so many things about that, because like our house is under construction right now. So I'm like, like I'm losing my mind. But the thing I've noticed, kind of like the same thing you did, you were like, I didn't need to take the shower, but you did, because you needed to take care of yourself. Like,
absolutely.
So for instance, for me, it's like, I need to go somewhere. I need to go to a coffee shop. I need to go to a sauna or whatever. Just like, you actually do need that hour in order to make the other hours behind or in front of you better or worth
absolutely.
It, you know? So take the time, might, you know, slow you down a little bit, but like also think about like how bad our quality of work, or just, you know, I'm not present with my boyfriend or even my cat who I love. And like, I fucking love my cat. Misty Moo, you're the queen of this house. But like, and then I'm not enjoying it. So it's like, I actually did need that hour to not make the rest of the time shitty, you know, for myself and those around me in whatever capacity it is. I totally know what you're talking about when you say that. Like, what did you call it?
What
The
did I say?
stress. I don't remember.
Being jumbled.
You say jumbled, I say lost in the sauce, or I'm buzzing because like
I
I
love
equate
it.
it to being like on a tilt-a-whirl. Like I almost feel ill. I'm so like overwhelmed. And like in those moments, we talked about the routine and like washing, but what are the best ways to ground yourself in that space?
Grounding yourself can be really hard, right? The world that we live in is chaotic and everybody has things going on. So one of my favorite things to do, it's super simple, super easy. Literally anybody can do this, like little kids up to the elderly adults. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5 things you see. You're identifying these things, right? You're grounding yourself in the present moment. So 5 things you see, 4 things you touch. What, like I can touch this lip stick around me.
Things you see, like for instance, me, like water bottle, blanket, tripod, like you actually pointing at them.
Yeah, you're actually identifying them. And if you're feeling like you're just blindly being like water bottle, there's a whole bunch of clothes I need to put away on my bed, right? Describe those things, like get a little bit more detailed. And this kind of goes back to what you were saying, like the intention behind it is important. It's like when you're in a bar class or like a Pilates class, and it's only like, you're only getting the work that you put into it. Right. So I could sit here and just like kind of just shoot around, but identify it and describe it. So get detailed with it. If you really need to ground yourself, 4 things you can touch. And again, describe it. Like I have a little sign here. It's color, right? Okay. Get clear. So 5 things you see, 4 things you touch, 3 things you hear. Maybe it's the cars outside. Maybe it's an ambulance going by. 2 things you can smell. Maybe you made salmon earlier in the day and it still kind of smells like that in your apartment. That happened to me and it's happening now. So 2 things you smell and 1 thing you can taste, right? Maybe you had a peppermint piece of gum, or maybe it was your oatmeal or whatever it is. But 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, it's just grounding yourself in the present moment. And when I do this, I physically put my feet like on the ground. So like, don't sit Indian style, like sit fully on the ground to know like that you're in the present moment and you're here in this safe space and your feet are on the ground, you're sitting in the chair, and be intentional behind it.
I love that. Yeah. I think it's so important to have these little like exercises to do. I haven't heard this one. I had heard people, especially, so I'm an actor, and like, they'll say that, you know, if you go into an audition room and you get really nervous, pick 5 things to focus on the room and like, you'll come out of it. And it's never actually really worked for me.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh, the detail, like you actually have to put intention behind it to pull yourself. Yeah. It's very interesting. So, you know, people get very like overwhelmed physically, emotionally, mentally. There are so many types of overwhelm. Like, how can an individual like hold themselves accountable to prevent becoming a will? Like, are there actionable steps we can take beforehand?
Something that helps me is to consistently use a daily planner. Like this is very micro, but it's actually on the ground because I had it right in front of me right before this interview, but I have a planner, like a calendar that just keeps me in check. It's something that I think about is like being prepared, right? So you would never go into a presentation, whether it's for like your corporate job or you're in school and you're presenting something in your history class. You would never go into that without ever looking at the material that you're actually presenting, right? You need to know. So on Sunday, carve out time to look at your week ahead. What's going on? Do you have kids going to school in the morning and they have soccer practice at night and you have a meeting at this time, right? Like know what's coming. 100%. If you know what's coming, the stress level and the anxiety is already going to go down because you know how your week is going to plan out. And if you kind of have that general structure, when things get crazy and chaotic and your kid gets sick at school and you have to go pick him up, you're going to be like, okay, you know what? I know what's coming. I know I have to move things around, but I can make that happen. So I think that just planning and knowing what's ahead is really, really important to just like decrease some of the overwhelm that you feel.
Yeah, I think that's so true. I'm a planner addict. I stand a planner so hard. This is my first year
my favorite
using
thing.
a digital planner, so I'm very proud of myself for that.
Ooh, do you like it?
I fucking love it. If
Okay.
you do not use, so I can't subscribe to Apple's or Google's because they're ugly.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
No, we don't need that.
We don't need that. So yeah, I did the whole Good Notes, buy it on Etsy, like the stencil, Good Notes download.
Wow.
It connects to my phone. It connects to this computer, that computer, the iPad. Now I really had to like I had a really old iPad that I was using to do it. And I actually did get a new one for Christmas that made it a little bit easier to use. But yeah, no, I'm really into it. So yeah, I'm so good at the planner part, but I often don't look ahead. Like I'll literally plan it all. I try to like grasp the space. And then I wake up in the morning and I'm like, wait, what the fuck am I doing? Which is so good that I have it written down, but it probably does cause me some stress and anxiety because on some level I wake up and I go, I never knew what was coming.
Yeah.
You know, and that unknown. And then also sometimes I'll start doing something else and then realize like, oh, fuck, I was supposed to be doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And I think just knowing that about yourself is really important. Like what works for me might not work for you. For me on Sunday, when I look at my week ahead, I put my work in there, my podcast interviews in there, things I need to be doing. I generally know like what my everyday looks like. And I don't always need to look at my everyday unless I know that like Wednesday is going to be super hectic. Then Tuesday night, I'm going to be reading my planner and just making sure it's organized and know what I'm doing. So I think it's important to know like what makes you feel overwhelmed and stressed and like work with that. I think self-awareness is kind of one of the themes in this episode too right now. It also helps you to be accountable in your life so that you can show up for it. So know what works for you. I'm a huge believer also in pen and paper. So I don't know for me, I tried to use like Google Calendar. I don't know, something. I tried to use something that somebody,
I can't stand it. It's so difficult.
I couldn't do it. And for me, like I have notes all around, like I will pen and paper till I die. That's just how I am. That works for me. That might not work for you. And that might not work for anyone who's listening to this episode. But if pen and paper is for you, give it a shot and use it. Like know what works for you. And if it's not working for you, if you still feel stressed and overwhelmed, figure out something else. Like get creative, get curious and make moves.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like some people need the like, and it's ironic because I just said, I forget sometimes what I'm doing, or I don't look at it ahead of time, but I know I'm not somebody who needs the reminder to go off on the phone. That will send me through a loop and I won't recover. I won't recover. I seriously won't recover. But some people really need the bling,
absolutely,
like this is happening now because like they're maybe so engrossed in their work, they need to be mentally taken out.
Yeah, right. Definitely.
And I'm definitely not that person. I like have to that was a big shift for me. I am trying. I still have not mastered it, but it was to schedule in transitional time. From I'm doing this now. Yeah. And then in this time, I can do whatever I want. And then, I'll have a podcast interview or now I'm going to edit for work, or whatever. So everybody's different and it does take time and we're also all not perfect at it all the time.
Oh my gosh. No, for sure. Something else that I just wanted to share too is 7 deep breaths. Like when I say deep breaths, I mean being intentional, breathing in 5 counts and breathing out 5 counts. 7 deep breaths is shown to trigger the emotional part of your brain. And it actually brings you back to calm. So when you breathe in, so maybe your transition now includes 7 deep breaths, right? It takes not that long to just bring yourself back to calm. And it's just something kind of to do to relieve some of the overwhelm and the stress that we feel literally every day, all the time.
Going back to that ritual, I love
exactly.
Take it off, leave it behind, because I do believe in this world, there's so much emphasis on how quickly can we get it done.
Oh yeah.
It's a lot of multitasking, which I'm fucking great multitasker. But if you want my best work, you should probably give me an allotted amount of time. And that's only what I'm focused on.
Absolutely.
It's confusing because of all the outside influences.
Yeah.
But it can be a lot to manage.
There's a lot of stuff going on.
There's a lot. I'm super curious though about we're going to get micro again about you. Is your week always somewhat the same, or are there certain things that are the same, or is it always different?
So I have tried. So I work at Orange Theory, which is across the street from my apartment, and I'm full-time there. So I know my set schedule for Orange Theory, right? We're making money and we're trying to like be a business owner at the same time. So we got the side hustle. We got it going. We're making moves. We're trying to at least.
Times and the day, like, right. But I totally get it. Like, totally get the side hustle, but too can't not acknowledge that. Right. But also that's like, that. So that's the same. Great.
And then I have different days that are designated towards different things for my business. So Thursday afternoons, for example, is my email batching day, right? So I have a newsletter. So I sit down, and depending on how many I need, I'm pretty far batched out now because this has been working for me. So go team, go. So I sit down and I batch out emails, right? So I have allotted time so that my schedule isn't always chaos. I get if you have, like, I don't have a family yet, like I don't have any of that. So it's just me. So it might be totally different for other people, but I have found that designated certain days and times to different tasks really helps to also kind of prevent that overwhelm. And then I know what's coming and what I have to do, what I have to get done.
I love that. Yeah. I'm curious about that. I haven't nailed down which one quite works for me, but if I'm like, some part of me thinks I'm just like this free spirit who needs to do shit when I want to do shit. But the other part of me, I'm like, okay, maybe like Monday we're focused on acting. Tuesday we're focused on podcasts, like creation, booking, I'm like, what does, a schedule really look like for me?
Yeah.
There's a holding yourself accountable to what you just did, which is that. And how is that going?
I've gotten in a better routine, but I mean, I'm human, so it's hard. But for me, I can go back and literally think of times that I put myself in a bind and a crunch because I don't have a podcast episode recorded and it's supposed to come out tomorrow, right? I don't have a newsletter email and I'm actually out to dinner with my friends on Sunday and my emails go out on Monday. So I can think of those times where I literally created the overwhelm and the anxiety that could have been prevented by just doing what I was supposed to be doing. So I think using those and reminding myself like, yo, I did that and I created a lot of anxiety and a lot of stress and a lot of overwhelm. So let's try to do what I can to prevent that. So how do I do that? I batch stuff out so I don't put myself in the situation to where my stress levels are through the roof.
Right. That's really important to acknowledge that sometimes the systems we set for ourselves can be stressful too.
Yeah.
I've definitely done that. Oh, totally. Yeah. So many times I don't even want to admit the amount of times something like that has occurred. Okay. So I do believe this. I believe, to an extent you have to hold yourself accountable if you want to change and grow. You have to know that, and you have to, recognize in yourself like, hey, the way I'm functioning right now is not working. It's not cutting it. Or I don't like the way the quality of my work, the quality of my podcasts, the quality of my social media. Take your pick. I don't know. Everybody's in everything these days. Yeah. But like, I want to know what you do to hold yourself accountable.
This is a hard question.
I know.
I think it's really hard to hold ourselves accountable because we don't have to like answer to anyone else. We could lie about what we're doing, right? We don't have to hold ourselves accountable, but there's also consequences like to that, kind of like what I was just saying. Yeah. So I know I talked about it in the beginning, but I think that it's important to have people around you who can also kind of like pitch in. So I live with my boyfriend and he knows what I'm like when I'm not being my best self. Right. And we have gotten in some fights about it, but when
honest,
he'll say to me, right? You gotta be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you been reading your books? Because he knows when I read, I just feel good. I feel grounded. Right. So like, he knows the little things that I do that help me feel good. He can just come home and feel my energy. Is it chaotic? Is she happy? How is she doing? So I think just surrounding yourself with people that also know you well and know you at your best and also your worst. So they can also hold you accountable. So then you can actually hold yourself accountable and be like, yo, I actually haven't been doing the things that I know I should be doing that make me feel my best. So let's get back to the basics, right? Let's think of a time. This is something else that I do is when I'm feeling chaotic and I'm feeling like I'm not happy or I'm not being my best self. Think about a time where I was actually feeling like a rock star and I felt like things were going well for me and I felt good about myself and I felt good about my career and where I'm at. What was I doing then? Let's get back to that. And you don't have to do everything you were doing right then, but if you remembered like, dang, in the morning, I was actually reading for 10 minutes before I got out of bed. And that made me feel really good. Let's try that. Let's get back to it. So I think just getting back to the basics and knowing when you're feeling your best and knowing when you're feeling your worst and having people to also remind you to hold yourself accountable is huge.
I completely agree.
It's a hard one though.
It's hard. Ashley is coming in with some like real great advice of like what to do, but also like hitting us with like the honesty of like, it's not a perfect science. And like, you're somebody who's in this field, teaches this stuff. And like, you're even honest about that. It's, it takes work.
Oh my gosh. It takes intentional and conscious effort to change your life around and to feel good about yourself. If you know that you're not happy, but you're not doing anything to kind of shift that up and to make changes, I mean, nothing changes if nothing changes. So we have to be willing to add one thing in a day that can make us feel good and get back to the basics. 100%.
I really like, that's become my new, probably everybody's fucking sick of me hearing this, not on the podcast, but in my real life, I'm like, you can't afford not to. You can't afford not to take the workout class. You can't afford not to take the hour to sleep in because like, that's what's gonna, you have to go back to the basics. That's what's gonna make the difference at the end of the day.
Yeah, 100%.
Ashley Parker, you are such a doll. Do you have any final advice for the listeners?
Advice. Okay. So one of my favorite quotes ever is you're too busy doubting yourself while everyone else is afraid of your potential. So, right. It goes back to kind of almost everything that we talked about, like the things that come up in your head, the lies, all the crap that goes on around us, the judgment from other people, your stress, your anxiety. You're too busy kind of like dealing with all of that and thinking that you're not enough and you're not worth it. When other people are like, damn, she's got it going on. Like she's a rock star, right? She can be anything she wants to be. So I think just reminding ourselves that you have what it takes to be your best damn self. And I'm rooting for every single one of your listeners and you to show up for your best self and your best life, because we only got one shot at this. Like, it's not a practice round. It's happening right now. So let's do the dang thing.
The thing is going.
Yeah, it's happening now. In case anybody
in case you forgot. In case you forgot. It's
your life is now.
Oh my gosh. Ashley Parker, thank you so much for taking the time. Please tell everybody where we can find you. Plug yourself.
Amazing. This has been so fun. You're awesome. This
is so fun. Yeah. We really vibed.
I know. We definitely did.
Same energy.
I love it.
That. Yeah.
It's my favorite when this happens like over screen on an interview, right? It's so fun. Right. So you can find me at _splash of ash on social media. I have a podcast called Splash of Ash on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, all the places that you can listen to it. And I would love to get Marley on my show. So stay tuned for that. My website is splashofash.com. Lots of fun things on there. I have some merch on there. I have a newsletter. So every Monday you can be reminded how badass you are and how you can conquer anything that your week throws at you. I got a blog on there. There's also some free downloadable PDFs to help you with so many good things. So there's a lot of stuff on there. And I'm also expanding my business to become a professional speaker. So I'm now offering for companies, small businesses, whatever, you name it. I want to come talk to your people, jack them up and fire them up to be their best selves. So that's me.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Ashley, for taking the time. Thank you guys for listening. We will see you next Tuesday, as always, which is also when Ashley's podcast comes out. So you can see us both next Tuesday.
I love it. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.